Okay. Okay, yeah, just let me know how the audio is, okay? All right. Make sure that's okay. All right, so hopefully this thing starts working now. I don't know what's been going on, but hopefully we can get it to go. Get it to go. Make sure that's okay. Make sure that sounds nice. Make sure the cam's working here. All right. All right, so we are officially live. I think we got everything going on so far. I apologize for the late start. Just got home. Thought I was going to go home a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. So, but yeah, I'm here now, and we're going to be, and this is it. This is the final Alabama versus Ohio State live stream. We are going to be talking matchups, the latest news, injuries, rumors. And then, of course, we're also going to give. I'm also going to give my score prediction. I'll also ask you guys as well to give your score prediction, and we are going to have a good time. So I'm not going to be streaming as long as I did the last couple of streams, only because for the most part I pretty much talked about everything. But just to kind of recap everything again, live Q&A, so you guys can pretty much ask about anything, and I'll definitely respond to your guys' comments. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining the live stream so far, and let's get this thing cracking. So I already see the usual suspects. Gabrielle, my boy Crimson Brave, is in the house. What is going on with you guys? How are you guys doing? Sarah Harp is in the house. Oh yeah, I do. I do got the Alabama hoodie on. Can I trust you, Gabrielle? Can I trust you? Because the last time I made a bunch of people mods, it was going. I mean, it was crazy, and there was a lot of people complaining about the mod situation. So I don't know. We might have to. I think I'm gonna take a little break from the mods for now. I think, and maybe next week. I think I'll do that. But I gave a lot of people power, and they abused the absolute crap out of it. We can't have that going on. Gabrielle, now if I make you a mod, you cannot be timing people out for no reason. We cannot be having people timed out for no reason. We can't have that. Cannot have that going on. Okay. All right, so this is what I'll do, Gabrielle. Later on, we'll definitely get that going. I mean, I am using StreamYard right now, so I don't know how to do it on here, but we'll get that settled down later on. Yeah, we'll get that done. I'm gonna trust you, but if you abuse it, taking that crap away, we cannot allow that to happen again. But yeah, let's talk about this Alabama Ohio State one last time. Let's hop straight into this thing. If you guys have not heard, Jalen Waddle is officially cleared. He is officially cleared now to play, at least to play. He still is a game time decision as far as um, the limited amount of play, but for the most part, he is ready to go. For what I've been able to hear, I think for the most part, it's been huge speculations. But that's huge. That's huge for Jalen Waddle to come back. Justin Fields is ready to go. The game is ready to go on too. And yeah, so yeah, the game is officially ready to go. Honestly, can't wait for it. And yeah, Monday is definitely the green light. So for the most part, there are some players out for Ohio State because of COVID cases. Alabama has none so far that I've been able to hear of. But for the most part, the most important thing is that this game is ready to go. I think that's the biggest question right there, Sarah. I think that's the biggest question is Jalen Waddle's now ready to go. And when you're playing on an ankle that I don't even think, for the most part, people keep saying that it's 100% healed. The doctors say it's 100%. I believe the doctors. But there, again, when you're a player and you suffer the type of injury that Jalen Waddle has suffered, you're gonna have these. You're gonna have some thinking going on in your head is saying, okay, what if I try to cut way too hard on, let's say I'm trying to run a corner out and I'm trying to cut way too hard on the inside. What if I just tear it up again? Or what if I get tackled and someone rolls on it? There's always that certain drawback that you just don't kind of just feel the same. You're a lot more cautious than before. So for Jalen Waddle, I want to see him to see if he can play full speed because for the most part, the injury is healed. But as far as the mental aspect of it, that's you're not having that much confidence um, as far as your injury goes. So I am very interested to see if Jalen Waddle will have that confidence again, where he can run any route that is given to him, that he can go over the top, that he can outrun defenses, that he can outrun defenders, and he can just cut at will. So that's something that honestly I am willing to see and also how many snaps is he going to play? Is he going to be limited, or is he going to get a significant amount of snaps? That's something that obviously I want to see. But this is the last game of the year. I guarantee you, in my opinion, Jalen Waddle is going to win a lot of snaps. I think Steve Sarkisian and Nick Saban will hold him back to a limited amount of snaps. As far as his impact, who knows? I mean, Jalen Waddle is the type of guy that can do 15, like 8, 9 snaps and still make a huge impact, whether it was a decoy or as a potential deep threat. What's going on, Kyler, man? Thank you so much for stopping by the stream. Yeah, Blake, he's playing, man. That is that at least he's cleared. He's cleared to play. It is up to Jalen. Technically, it is up to Jalen Waddle if he wants to play or not. It's up to him if he wants to play. But he is cleared by the medical staff that he is a go. Um, so I do believe that Saban will have a say. If he, depending on how many snaps he will be dressed for the most part. That's what it means. He will be dressed. Jalen Waddle is going to be dressed. As far as him stepping on the football field, that's to be determined. And again, it's also Jalen Waddle's decision if he wants to be on the football field, but he is cleared that you can put the shoulder pads and all that equipment on him, and that he will officially be on the football field. Aubrey, I think I've been saying this for quite a while. Urban Meyer is the type of coach that you can just tell watching him on Fox. He does not want to be a broadcaster. He doesn't want to even be an analyst. I mean, maybe later down the line he wants to, but not right now. I think Urban Meyer believes that right now he's in the prime of his career as far as coaching. He wants to continue to coach, but the health really kind of draws him back. So for Urban Meyer, I think taking a job in the NFL, it's less responsibility than college. It's way less responsibility in college. You don't have to worry about kids' grades. You don't have to worry about excuse me, you don't have to worry about recruiting 24/7 because recruiting is honestly probably the hardest part of being a college coach. And then you have to deal with all the departures, and then you have to deal with the athletic director and the staff and the limitations that the university kind of gives you. You don't have to deal with that once you're in the NFL. So the NFL just offers way more freedom to Urban Meyer, in my opinion. He doesn't have to really deal with kids anymore. He's dealing with grown men. He's dealing with really grown men. And I think that as far as a comfort level, I think Urban Meyer, that's a more comfortable environment for him. I think the college level offers way too much stress. I think the NFL, again, it's not a stress-free job, but it's a lot better as far as less responsibility than you are as a college football head coach. I got to Um, again, bias me going always going with Alabama. I got to keep saying that because I'm still getting kind of criticized by some Bama fans for kind of for my decision. But I'm still rolling with Ohio State. I think Ohio State's front. I think Ohio State's defensive line is just a little bit better than Alabama's offensive line right now. I think the only reason, and the reason why I say it, is because Landon Dickerson's out. The Remington Award, the best center in all of college football, is not playing this game. Chris Owens is a good player, but he's a guy that struggled against stronger, quicker defenders. I think he's the weak link of that offense. And again, it's the most important position of the offensive line. I think Ohio State's defensive line takes advantage of that. I think Ohio State's offensive line also, Miller's also coming back as well. So Ohio State's going to be, that offensive line is going to be a little bit more healthier. I think they're in sync. I think they're coming in at the right time. And I just think Ohio State is going to make just a little bit more plays than Alabama so far. But again, as far as the the biggest difference between these two teams, there's really not that much. These are two very similar football teams. They both got phenomenal strengths. The weaknesses are almost exactly the same. I mean, these teams are super even, which is exactly why I think we're going to get a football. I think we're going to get a good football game. I think Clemson actually had some weaknesses that obviously we never. I think they had just the youth. This was a very youthful Clemson football team. Um, and I think we kind of really underestimated that because, Clemson, for the most part, they're competing in the ACC. There's not a lot of good teams there. And Clemson, for the most part, is dominating everybody in their path. And as soon as they lost Notre Dame, we all thought, hey, Notre Dame is just an elite football team until guess what? Clemson kind of exposed them again in the ACC championship game. So I do feel like, for the most part, Clemson was a very youthful team. And Ohio State just took advantage of that opportunity. But yeah, two very even teams, Alabama and Ohio State. I think this is going to go even toe to toe. But I think Ohio State just edges out Alabama just a little bit. I think we're going to get a great football game, though. So 48-35, that's Steven's prediction. I'm going to give you guys my score prediction right now. I think Ohio State is winning this game. I'm going to say I'm going to say 42 to 38. 42-38 Ohio State wins. And that's just the again unbiased. The biased version of me is always going to root for Alabama. Trust me, I will be rooting for Alabama during this football game. But of course, my unbiased version, I I have to completely roll with Ohio State. That's just again, I try to sleep on it. I try to watch the games. I try to watch the tape. I try to I try to look at the stats. I look at everything, and just nothing has kind of changed my mind that Alabama's going to win. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but for now, I am going to go with Ohio State as the winner. And I know a lot of you Ohio State fans that are in this chat is probably happy with my prediction. So Sarah has 42 to 35. She has Ohio State winning. Put down your score predictions if you haven't. Put down your score predictions. I am very interested in seeing exactly what you guys think. Trey Sermon versus Alabama. That could very well be a key matchup right there. Trey Sermon versus Alabama. I appreciate that, Steven. All right, so Gelato, he has 45 to 37. He has Alabama winning this game 45 to 37. And that could be very realistic. I mean, like I said, Uh, the most common theme that I've always seen is that a lot of people think that this is going to be a high scoring football game. I don't think anyone expects this game to be a blowout. No one expects this to be an Alabama Notre Dame or even a Clemson Ohio State. People expect this to be a close game. And again, we haven't had a really good high scoring national championship game since the 2016 national championship, which was 35-31 Alabama against Clemson. Of course, Clemson won that football game. The following year in 2017, we had a pretty good game in Alabama versus Georgia. Of course, Devontae Smith catching that second and 26 pass, which still haunts Georgia fans to this damn day. Um, and Georgia fans kind of finally feel, Georgia fans finally felt how we felt every time we saw the kick six. But yeah, that was a pretty good game as well, 26-23 in overtime. So hopefully we can go back to that and we can go back to having some really good national championship games. We all expect this to be a high scoring football game, and I hope that definitely lives up to the billing. So Alabama football fan row tide has Alabama winning 49-40, which is again crazy that again everyone thinks that these two teams are scoring at least 80 points combined, which is absolutely insane. I think this is going to be a close game, Aubrey. I think this is going to be a high close game. I think this is going to be a high scoring football game. I'll be shocked if this is a blowout. I'll be shocked if Ohio State blows out Alabama out. I'll be shocked if Alabama blows out Ohio State out. I think this is going to be a very, very close competitive football game. I think that these two teams are extremely even. Both teams have great offensive lines. Both teams have really good defensive lines. Both these guys have really, really nice predicated pass rushes. Secondaries, for the most part, are shaky, but they do have some impact players in the secondary. And most importantly, both these guys have effective quarterbacks and an effective running game with Najee Harris and Trey Sermon. So, in special teams, we didn't even talk about special teams, guys. I mean, Ohio State has a pretty decent kicker. Alabama has one of the best kickers. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Alabama has one of the best kickers in the nation, in Will Reichert. Um, and yeah, this is a pretty even football game. Pretty good coaching staffs, really good coaching staffs. Of course, Ryan Day, Nick Saban. You know what you're going to get there. So, um, this is going to be a good football. I think this is going to be a good football game. Crimson Brave got his score prediction. He thinks Alabama's going to win the game 45-31. And Juan also has his score prediction 40, literally the exact same for Crimson, only except that Ohio State. He has Ohio State winning this game 45-31 as well. So, like I said, everyone agrees that both teams are going to be in the 30s, man. Everyone agrees about that. And hopefully we'll definitely get it. I will also say this. I'm going to ask the Bama fans that are in the chat here. So Steve Sarkisian, we all know he's the head coach for the Texas Longhorns. He's taking Kyle Flood with him now. And I'm actually kind of pissed off about that because I knew that this was going to happen. Whenever a Alabama football coach leaves, they always have to go to the staff and they take those guys with them. Now, we all know Nick Saban will recover. Kyle Flood, I actually really like Kyle Flood. Kyle Flood brought in a lot of recruits, especially from that Northeast area and especially from the Northeast coastal areas. And Kyle Flood is one hell of an offensive line coach. So, yeah, Steve Sarkisian is taking Kyle Flood with him. I want to ask, do you think that's going to impact this game? Do you think that's going to be another added distraction? Kyle Flood, the offensive line coach, probably the best offensive line coach in America, now being gone and going to the University of Alabama. And I haven't heard any news about Ohio State's coaching staff leaving as well. Like Clemson's coaching staff, haven't heard any news. Ohio State's coaching staff, haven't heard any news. Bama's coaching staff, there are rumors that the offensive line coach can go. There's rumors that the defensive line coach can go, who just got there, by the way. He could be on his way out. And Halvin Wiggins could go with Steve Sarkisian to the University of Texas as well, which again just adds on to this just the distraction. Ooh. Tea is hot. Yeah, and to be fair, I forgot who the offensive line coach for Alabama was in 2018. He's at Georgia Tech now, but he was really good, really really good. He talked. I remember he came on Twitter the next day, talked crap, saying we're going to get Georgia Tech to be a national championship contender. And then they brought in Kyle Flood. I don't know. Kyle Flood inherited a really good offensive line, and he made it. He made it possibly the best offensive line unit Alabama's had since 2012. When 2012, you had the Quanjo brothers, and you had Chance Warmack and DJ Fluker and Barrett Jones and those guys, and of course Anthony Steen. I still think 2012 offensive line was the most dominant line I have ever seen. But you know, still, I mean, you want to talk about a line that comes close to that 2012 line? It's definitely this year's. Oh, don't worry about it, your mom. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. I appreciate for your comment though. Appreciate it. We will be live streaming the national championship game. We will be live streaming the national championship on Monday. We'll be having a watch party. We'll be starting at around 7:30. So hopefully you guys will come by the live stream, chat it up with us even during the football game. Um, and yeah, can't wait for it, man. Can't wait to just watch it with you guys. I don't agree with that as well. I don't. I think Bryce Young was stay. Matter of fact, his dad, I think his dad actually came out. I think he actually tweeted that Bryce Young was not, or somewhere. His dad said he's not going anywhere. Will just say that his dad said he's not going anywhere. I know there was some rumor about that. His dad came out. Someone really kind of asked him about it. His dad said, "No, he's not going anywhere, at least right now." So, um, yeah, I think Bryce Young, I think has just had people just think he only has a relationship with Steve Sarkisian. That's not true at all. Bryce Young has a tremendous relationship with all the coaches, with the majority of the coaches that he's kind of worked with. He has a phenomenal relationship with a lot of the players that I think are there as well. And most importantly, he believes in the process. He loves Nick Saban. He believes in the process. I think Bryce Young will stay. And it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you go to Texas when Texas already has their quarterback in Thompson? Like, Thompson is going to be the guy next year. It just makes no sense to me why Bryce Young would leave to be a backup somewhere else. While Bryce Young could have an opportunity to not only have one of the best personnel groups that Alabama has had, and as far as 5-star, as far as young talent that's going to be coming in, but you already know Nick Saban's always going to bring in a great coaching staff to kind of coach him up. Um, and Bryce Young has a chance to be the starting quarterback next year. Next year, if Mac Jones decides to leave, it's an open job. And even if Mac Jones stays, we all know that this job is going to either be between Bryce Young or it's going to be between Paul Tyson or Jalen Milrow. So the job is going to be eventually open. He just got to be patient. And his dad already came out said that he's going to be staying. So I'm not really worried about Bryce Young transferring to Texas. Yeah, thank you so much for stopping by the stream, man. Really, really appreciate you stopping by the stream. Oh, of course. Steve Sarkisian even says, "Hey, listen, man, I want this." Sark said, "Man, I want this, man. I want this ring. I want this national championship." I am 100% focused, and I do like the fact how he said it. I mean, you go back to a lot of the coordinators. I mean, some coordinators said, "Hey, I just all I care about is this game right now." But then you have some coaches that were honest in their press conference. Say, "Listen, yeah, I am kind of dingling back and forth and trying to learn how to handle the process." Sark came, he just straight out came out and said, "Listen, I'm not after the national championship game. That's what I'm focused on, Texas." And just kind of the way he said, I think I am convinced that Sark is focused on this game. So, I mean, so yeah, if Steve Sarkisian has a bad game, I'm not going to blame it on Texas on the Texas job because I'm not going to be doing that. I mean, I wasn't planning on doing that anyway. Um, but again, I think that I have plenty of confidence that Steve Sarkisian is going to be 100% focused on the football game. So Juan, he has his prediction 52-34. Ohio State is going to win the football game, which that's is that I think that's considered a blowout. So I think Juan is the first person that actually believes that Ohio State is going to blow them out, which could be it. I mean, again, this could be the score. No one thought. I didn't even think. I thought it was going to be Alabama, Clemson. No one thought Ohio State was going to be Clemson, and Ohio State not only ended up beating them, they ended up destroying them. So that could be it. So obviously we're going to find out on Monday. Yeah, Crimson. I don't understand why a lot of I'll say this real quick, Crimson. I don't understand why a lot of Bama fans just don't they. I don't understand why they kind of lost confidence in Bryce Young now. It's like we have a tendency that if you don't show up as a 5-star athlete, if you don't show up, then we've kind of lost faith in you. I don't understand that. I've never really kind of got that about Alabama fans for some reason, or at least that type of Bama fan. It's like Bryce Young is a true freshman, and he has a limited amount of plays. He's running RPOs and he's doing screen passes. Right by the you know the but Bryce Young hasn't even run. He hasn't even had a glimpse of running this type of offense. Like when Tua got the offense from Brian Dable, you can tell Tua was running the actual game plan. Tua was running a bunch of the same plays that Jalen Hurts was kind of running, only except that Tua was doing it at a higher successful route. When Bryce Young came in, you didn't see the play action passes and you didn't see all these different receiver concepts or different passing concepts that Mac Jones normally ran. It was kind of different because I don't know why, but we ran a lot of RPOs, we ran a lot of screens, we handed the football off a whole bunch of times. Like Bryce Young, yes, he didn't. Did he look impressive? Of course, at times he did look impressive, and there was a times where he's like, he's a true freshman. But I think we're just forgetting he's a true freshman. Kid's a true freshman, man. He's a 5-star kid. But when you actually saw him throw the football, and you actually saw the arm talent that was in display, Bryce Young looked like he can be the future. So I think Bama fans kind of need to pump the brake a little bit by saying he's overrated. The kid's a freshman. Let's see what he got later on the line. Yeah, exactly, Gallardo. I mean, I remember when every single Bama fan was roasting Mac Jones whenever he got in the game. Like our 2018, right? Jalen Hurts, it was Tua, Jalen. And then as soon as Mac Jones came in the Ole Miss game, people were roasting him. The next year, and even in 2019, right, when it was Tua, no one wanted Mac Jones to come in the football game. Matter of fact, people actually thought that we were going to lose to Arkansas when Mac Jones made his first career start. The Auburn game, people crapped on Mac Jones. Bama fans crapped on him from his performance. I was sold on Mac Jones after the Auburn game. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I was one of those fans previously because I'm like, I'm not a believer in Mac Jones. I'm just waiting for Bryce Young to come in and start. But I saw the Auburn game. I made a video on it. I was sold on Mac Jones. The composure, just how he kind of developed that quickly. But the point is that Mac Jones didn't come in right away and lit it up. He had to wait his turn. Mac Jones had to develop. And so, yeah, we need to kind of pause on Bryce Young being overrated or being a bust. He's a true freshman, and again, not every true freshman is Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, exactly. Bryce Young might just be the most talented quarterback. He's not the best, but he's the most. I think he's the most talented. That kid can not only launch the football, but he has the legs, he has the mobility, he has the IQ. Bryce Young is an extremely talented quarterback. There's a reason why he's a 5-star for a reason. And I think that if Mac Jones leaves, I think we're in good hands with Bryce Young. And not to mention that Bryce Young didn't have spring ball. He had limited training camp and he had a spring ball. So let's give the kid some time. Oh yeah, that was a top 10. That was a top 10 defense, Gallardo. That was a top 10 defense, and people were lighting up Mac Jones for throwing 2 pick sixes. Which, yeah, I get it, I understand it, but that's his third. That's his third career start against a top 10 defense with 2 first round picks in that damn defense, and arguably the best defensive lineman at the time, Derek Brown. Oh, Auburn's defensive line last year was brutal. Auburn's defensive line last year was really, really good. Really, really good. Derek Brown, Big Cat Bryant. Those players on that defensive line, Marlon Davidson, those players were really, really good. Primarily was Derek Brown. Derek Brown was a one-man wrecking crew. And, you know, Bama's offensive line did a phenomenal job. There's a reason why Alabama put up over 40 points on that defense, though, because you had Jedrick Wills, who I think is the best offensive lineman Alabama's ever had. That's just my opinion. You had again, Evan Neal was playing as a guard. Leatherwood was playing as a tackle. Dickerson was there. All those guys were there. But you know, Ohio State's off defensive line, they're really good as well, but they're not better than Auburn's defensive line from last year. And I think if Leonard Dickerson was starting in this game, I think I would go with Alabama to win this game 100% because I'm just confident because no one has had success against Alabama's offensive line. But what kind of I'm not going to say it's going to expose Alabama or make them weak, but you know, Alabama's offensive line is they're not the same when Leonard Dickerson's there. They're just not. There's something again that Leonard Dickerson is not just the communicator or he's the type of guy that just provides us the confidence or the type of swagger to that offensive line. Like he is an aggressive bull. That dude will pancake the crap out of you. He's probably one of the best blockers I think in the country when it comes to just downfield blocking. Like he gets uphill and he just lays the paws on you and he never lets you go. I've noticed that when Chris Owens kind of tries to combo block somebody, or when he tries to get upfield and he's trying to block somebody, he whiffs every single time. Now, Chris Owens has been good in pass protection, but as a run blocker and as far as that type of aggression, he's missing that. And you don't learn from that. It's either you got it or you don't got it. And I think this Ohio State defensive line with Garrett and Friday and TT and those guys up there, I think that they can take advantage of Chris Owens. I think they can take advantage of those guys. Now again, Ohio State, I don't believe that they're going to destroy Alabama's offensive line like they did Clemson. I think Alabama's offensive line is going to definitely have their fair share. However, I do believe that I would have just loved to see Leonard Dickerson as the starting offensive lineman. Leonard Dickerson just provides a confidence, just a reassurance that hey, no matter who you put up against Alabama's offensive line, they're going to get at least 40 points on you. Yeah, I can't wait for that. I can't wait for Chris Olave against Pastor Tan because Bama's not playing. Bama doesn't play a lot of zone. They will go into it, but they don't play a lot of zone. They don't play a lot of quarters. They don't play a lot of two. They don't play a lot of two deep zone. For the most part, they love to play a lot of man coverage. They love to leave their guys on an island. They love to jam you up. They love to be physical. And you already know you're going to get that. You're going to get that matchup where Pastor Ten is going to get left on an island with Chris Olave. It's going to happen. And when it does happen, will Justin Fields look for Chris Olave? Will he take those deep shots? One thing Chris Olave does, and he's not afraid of, no matter who he goes up against, they're gonna take shots deep with him, no matter who you put up against him. So Pat Surtain going against Chris Olave on an island, it's going to happen, and I can't wait to see who's going to win that particular matchup. Will it be Pat or will it be Chris Olave? I think another matchup that a lot of fans should be excited for is Garrett Wilson against Malachi Moore. Ohio State loves to use Garrett Wilson in the slot. Now, of course, if they don't use their two tight ends, if they don't kind of utilize their tight ends, and they go back to just having Garrett Wilson in the slot, Garrett Wilson is either going to go against Malachi Moore or is going to go against Brian Branch. That's a matchup that I think a lot of people should talk about because Malachi Moore, even though he's gotten beat a lot, Malachi Moore has made a lot of plays on the football. He's arguably Alabama's best playmaker as far as takeaways, as far as forced turnovers. So Malachi Moore against a former 5-star in Garrett Wilson, who's extremely talented. I think it's a matchup that a lot of people are not even talking about. That people should be talking about. Does Najee run for 100 yards? Um, I don't think he's going to get 100 yards. I will say though that I think Najee Harris is going to get over 125 total yards. He's going to. I think he's going to go come close to the 100 yards. I don't know how many carries they're going to give him, but I think he's going to come close to it. But I think Najee Harris, I think his role in the receiving game is more important than him in the running game. I think his role in the receiving game is going to be way more important. I think Steve Sarkisian, he's going to use all his bag of tricks in this game. And I think they're going to use Najee Harris in the slot. I think they're going to use him out wide. And they're going to use him coming off the backfield. He's going to be, and I think the same thing is going to be used for Trey Sermon. I think Ohio State will continue to utilize the screen game because Alabama fans will tell you what's the one big thing that's hurt Alabama's passing defense. The wheel route. The wheel route. Don't be surprised if you see the wheel route in this game. Another thing that's kind of hurt Alabama is the screen game. What's Ohio State's been really good at the last couple of weeks? The screen game. So I think that both running backs will be utilized, I believe, more in the receiving game or will have more important roles as far as in the receiving game more than them really kind of focusing on trying to get the 100 yards rushing. Yeah, Pat Surtain, man, trust me, Pat Surtain has been a shutdown corner. I will say this, Crimson. We've seen Pat Surtain get beat, and especially on the deep routes. We have seen him get beat. Trayvon Grimes did it a couple weeks ago. We've seen Tennessee. Matter of fact, he got beat 3 times deep, and because how doo doo Jared Garrettano is, or no, I'm not going to say was. He still is doo doo. He couldn't really capitalize on those opportunities, but we have seen Pat Surtain get beat, and I do believe that Chris Olave might just be the best pure receiver that I think is matched up on. Well, no, I'm not going to say that because Kyle Pitts might be the best pure receiver that I think he's ever been matched up against. But we have seen receivers have success against this Alabama defense. And I don't even think that Patrick Surtain is going to shadow Chris Olave all night long. That's just not the way Alabama's defense works. They're going to have matchups. I wouldn't be surprised at all that if Job is on Chris Olave, that's when they'll take shots deep. If Chris Olave is matched up against the slot against Malachi Moore or Brian Branch or Jordan Battle, that's when they'll take those shots. Ohio State, they're going to find ways. Ryan Day in this offense, they're going to find ways to get their receivers on the correct matchups. That's what Ohio State's been good at the last, I don't know how many other years. They've just done a phenomenal job of finding the correct matchups and really exposing that. I think Trey Sermon does. I think he'll run for 100 yards, Aubrey. I think Trey Sermon will get 100 yards. Because I will say this, I don't believe that, and I think they have to. I think that Alabama, they don't need Najee Harris to run for 100 yards. I think Ohio State need Trey Sermons to run for 100 yards if they're going to win this football game. Um, Justin Fields is playing. He's not going to be at 100%. I don't care what people say. Trust me, I've been through the rib injury situation. I'm telling you, it's going to affect you. No matter how many shots you take, it's going to affect the hell out of you. It's going to affect his mobility and it's going to take that dynamic away. And if the passing attack can, and I do believe that this is a game where Ohio State needs Trey Sermon to run the ball effectively and efficiently. If they can't run the football, they're not winning this game. So I think that Ohio State with their zone run, they're going to that's a huge part of their offense. They have no choice but to try to get that going. And as good as Trey Sermon has been in the receiving game, most notably as far as just him coming out the backfield and using him in the screen game, he's not better than Najee Harris as a pure receiver. I think Steve Sarkisian will utilize Najee Harris more as a pure receiver in this football game than we've kind of ever seen. Yeah, I mean, they're not the best in the world, Galato. I mean, they're not the best in the world. They're not Najee Harris. They're not Najee Harris, Elvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey. They're not those type of guys. They're average, but we have seen Ohio State have success at that and kind of really utilize that. But they're not the best. I do agree that they're kind of just average in that way. Yeah, exactly, Poison. Najee might not run for 100 yards, but he could get 100 receiving yards. Again, Najee Harris is the type of player, and we've seen Steve Sarkisian kind of utilize Najee Harris. We've kind of seen hints that there's a lot more tricks up the sleeve, man. There's a lot more tricks up the sleeve. Najee Harris could be a player that could have more receiving yards, more receptions this football game than we've kind of ever seen him get it. Oh, absolutely, Luke. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, trust me. I wish Alabama had the 2011 secondary. I wish we had Mark Barron and Drake Kirkpatrick and D. Milner as our corners. Unfortunately, that's just not the case. We got Pastor Tan, and that unfortunately that's it. Malachi Moore is a really good. He's a really good slot corner. However, Malachi Moore, he's been beat. We've kind of seen him get beat. We've seen Brian Branch get beat. We've seen Josh Jobe definitely get his ass beat. And then, of course, we can't forget about Mr. Busted Coverage himself, Daniel Wright. We could not forget about Mr. Busted Coverage himself, Mr. Daniel freaking Wright. Cannot forget about that, which I actually would not be surprised at all in this football game if he just abandons the responsibility. It wouldn't be Alabama football. It wouldn't be a win without Daniel Wright busting a damn coverage. Yeah, I heard about that. Ben Nate Oates, man. Shout out to Nate Oates. Again, I know this is football, but shout out to Nate Oates, man. I've been watching him since he's been at UB. I've been at a couple of UB games. I've seen him close and personal, and I knew right away. I knew right away what he was going to do with the strength and conditioning program. I knew right away how Alabama's going to play fast-paced basketball, and they're definitely going to take a lot more shots. They're going to be one of the more harder teams in the court to guard. Shout out to the University of Alabama for actually beating Tennessee and Florida, man. Alabama basketball is definitely on the right track, but we'll definitely get to that later on. You mean 2016. You mean 2016. Well, you can say 2015. No, 2014 was Ha Ha, Landon Collins, Cyrus Jones, and oh my God, he was number 27. The name's escaping me, but he was number 27. I forgot what his name was. Marlon didn't come. He didn't really contribute until like 2015 in the secondary. But shit, hell, even in 2015, 2016, the reason why I'm not saying them is because of Deshaun Watson and Chad Kelly. That's why I'm not saying that. I mean, trust me, those guys were dogs, those guys were animals. But Chad Kelly and Deshaun Watson, that's all I gotta say for that. 2011 had shut down corners. Oh man, I appreciate that hero. Appreciate that dog. Yeah, man, I try to be as unbiased as possible. And I know a lot of football channels, right? They have their football team, and that's really all they talk about here, man. Listen. We love talking sports here. We love talking football. We love talking sports on this football channel, man. We're gonna save the bias and the fandom until the game actually starts. But until then, we're gonna be talking about football, man. Just pure football. That's what I love talking about over here. Let me tell you something, Gallardo. That game kind of, you know what? I don't like to roast. I don't like to kind of like go against what Jalen Hurts did in 2016. But I just 2016 that year will always piss me off, man, because we probably had the best Bama team of all time and probably the best defense of all time, and that shit was just wasted because we just didn't have a passing game the entire year. 2016 will always piss me off, man. Just thinking about it, man, just kind of just gets on my nerves. All right, we got trash talk in the live chat. That is what I'm talking about, man. Listen, all this all this is gonna happen until Monday. Monday after the game. You know what? I forgot to mention too. We're also gonna have a. We're definitely gonna be doing post game. So we'll have a watch party. Then we're gonna have a post game live stream, and then we're gonna have. It's literally gonna be nothing but pure trash talk. I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait for that joint, baby. Mm-hmm. Again, one of the biggest questions is was Ohio State burnt out from last week? Were they burned out from that Clemson game, or can they just give it one more try? You know, there have been games, there have been situations, and this happens every year where teams just play a certain team harder than their next opponent. They just do. They just give everything they got, and then they just kind of just let it go. Will Ohio State have enough energy? Are they too banged up to kind of give it all to Alabama? Pause. You know, we'll find out. Um, I think one of the biggest questions that I am looking forward to is Justin Fields. How much can not we all know Justin Fields is playing. Can he use his legs? Is he gonna slide a little bit early? If he does, how hurt is he? That's probably one of the biggest questions right there is can Justin Fields play? He's not gonna be at 100%, but just how much as far as a percentage, how much can Justin Fields get going against Alabama? Oh yeah, I had to hit the pause. I had to hit the pause real quick, Matt. Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna give up on Daniel Wright. I think he can be a really, really. I mean, trust me, when he's made plays, he's made. When the dude flash, he can really flash, man. I mean, we've seen him force turnovers, we've seen him really get in the run, but it's just he. I don't. It's just something about that man when it comes to busted coverages. I don't understand. Okay, Chris. Yeah, that's I'm also thinking about going to the University of Alabama. Of course, I'm a communications major at Buffalo State, but um right, I've been thinking about going to the University of Alabama. I've been thinking about transferring there, maybe, or maybe going to University of Alabama to try to get my master's. So yeah, you're not the only person that's kind of been thinking about that for a little bit, and I'm almost done too. So yeah, Crimson, 2018 was a special year for Alabama. I mean, it was special, man. I mean, Tua T pretty much sat out the entire. Think about this for a second, guys. Tua played two full games in 2018. He played two. No, I'm sorry. He played three full games. He played three fourth quarter games. Three full games. My God, man. I mean, that 2018 team was special offensively, and then of course you had Quentin Williams, but obviously that all came crashing down when they played against Clemson, and unfortunately, it's going to be one of the most forgotten teams um, in Alabama history. All right, so Chris has Alabama winning it all, winning the national championship as well. So we've had some mix. We've had some people say Ohio State. We've had some people say Alabama. Um, so yeah, let's continue to get these Let's continue to get these predictions going. Oh, so Chris has 49-45. Alabama winning the national championship. So that is what's up. That is what's going on right over there. And again, that could be true. Could be very realistic. Who knows? I think we've had one prediction that is leaning towards Ohio State to blow out Alabama. But everybody believes that this is going to be a high scoring game. Everybody believes that both these teams will be scoring over 30 points, which could definitely be the case. And Alabama actually is they've actually arrived at Miami. So Alabama is actually in Miami right now. Ohio State will be arriving tomorrow. So um, of course, they're going to have their online, their press conferences and stuff like that. But who knows? Maybe that could be a little bit, just a little bit, a tiny bit of an advantage for Alabama just to get there a little bit early in Miami. Yeah, Alabama was crippled defensively. I mean, Bama was crippled defensively, man. I mean, uh, man, 2019, man, the offense looked even better. If not almost the exact same. Just defense was just ass. Nothing you can pretty much say, man. Defense was crippled. Literally nothing but true freshmen playing. And unfortunately, it was another wasted year. Think about this for a second. The two greatest offenses statistically that Alabama's ever had are was the one was were and they couldn't make it to the national. They couldn't win the national championship. Like two of the greatest offenses as far as talent. Like just look at the talent. I mean, you had four freaking potential first round picks, four first round picks in that damn offense, and you couldn't win a national championship as starters. Oh, just sickens me. Sickens me. Exactly, Steve. They're playing in Miami. And they know the territory. Like it's they know the territory. Um, it's a close, very close. Who knows? Maybe Miami could be a huge advantage. Could be a huge advantage for Alabama. You know what's funny? I would love to see a playoff game be played in the North. We've never had a playoff game played in Detroit, or we've never had a playoff game played in like New York or any of the other cold areas. I would have loved to see like a playoff game being or in Minnesota. I would love to see like one of these playoff games kind of get played in the North. For the most part, it's in the South. It's either in the South or it's in the West Coast. We kind of love to kind of like just play up north. There's nothing wrong with up north. There's a lot of domes up here, and I'm just saying that so again because I don't even have to travel that far. It's just like right next to me. I mean, you got Indianapolis, you got Detroit, you got New York, you got a bunch of domes up here. Okay, yeah. So next year the game is going to be in Indianapolis. Hope they need to continue that, man. I'm just kind of tired of just the same venues. You already know what the same venues are going to be. Yeah, Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay. Nah, maybe that's too cold. Maybe that's too cold over there. But I mean, why? Why? I mean, just why not? Just why not, man? I just why not? Yeah, I would not mind seeing a snow. Like, can you imagine a national championship game being played in the snow? That's a dream to have a. Yeah, you know what though, Crimson. If Alabama wins the national championship, I do agree with you. I think this is going to be a lot of people's favorites. This is definitely going to be my favorite, but this is going to be my favorite because you had to deal with all this COVID crap, the season potentially ending, and then even with the season began, think about all the adversity that this defense went through. Think about all the crap that we put Pete Golden through. I mean, we wanted Pete Golden to be fired, and how bad the defense was, and then eventually the defense was turned around, and then they started playing at an elite level, and then you have Mac Jones. I mean, Alabama winning seven awards, Heisman Trophy, all conference schedule. I mean, you know, do I believe that this is the greatest Alabama football team of all time if they do end up winning the national championship? No, I don't think that this is the best Alabama football team if they've won the national championship. I think that I'm still going to reside with. I don't even. I'll still go with 2011 because I think that defense was just unreal in my opinion, and that offensive line was, oh my god, that offensive line was brutal in 2011. But I do believe, however, that I do believe that it should be one of the more historic national championship teams if Alabama does end up winning. And I also think the same exact thing with Ohio State. If Ohio State wins the national championship, think about all the adversity they had to go through, all the canceled games, and the Big Ten almost canceling on them, and limited practices and limit surely enough a limited training camp because of how the season started late for those guys. All the crap that they went through, all the adversity, and the fact that they were able to go down there, finally get the monkey off their back by destroying Clemson and ended up and beating Alabama and winning the national championship, I think both teams would probably be very, very historic. Oh, Kara? Oh, well, happy birthday. Happy birthday to her. Happy early birthday to Kara. Your birthday is March 10th. Okay, I'll remember that. No, I'll probably, Chris, you gotta remind me, Chris. Just keep reminding me, man, because eventually I forget birthdays. If Saban win, does he retire? Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Um, if he wins this national championship, he could, honestly. Because at this point, what do you have to prove for your Nick Saban? Now, I don't think he's going to retire. I think he has a lot left in the tank. I think Nick Saban honestly can go another 5 years if he wants to, because he has a clean bill of health. As far as I know, and my concern with him, everything that I've heard, I think he has a clean bill of health. His wife is happy with him at Alabama. She actually wants him to keep. She wants him to coach for another 10 years. She actually she actually said she wants him to coach for another 10 years. So I think he's happy, and he always wants to keep improving as a head coach. But however, I mean, if you win this national championship, what do you got to? I mean, what do you got to? What do you have to prove? I mean, you have replaced all you. Nick Saban has replaced nothing but assistants his entire career. He's won 7 national championships. He's won at 2 different damn schools. Countless amount of NFL draftees and countless amount of All Americans and Heisman and 3 Heisman Trophy winners in 11 years. And while previously Alabama had none. I mean, what does Nick Saban have to prove? If Nick Saban wins this national championship, uh, it would be official. It would be officially stamped that he would be the greatest college football coach of all time, even though we all think that he is the greatest college football coach of all time. I don't think it's better. Listen, Aubrey, I love you, man, but you're wrong. And I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong there, Aubrey. When Tim Tebow left Florida, what happened? When Tim Tebow left Florida, what happened? He coached a year, got his ass had a horrible season, got his ass kicked by Saban, left for 2 years to go to, and then he went to Ohio State. And by the way, at Ohio State, even though he built a phenomenal program, well, the program was already phenomenal, but he kind of reestablished the program. He only won 1 national title. But Urban Meyer is probably second. Will give Urban Meyer, no, not Urban Meyer second. Bear Bryant is second in my opinion, but Urban Meyer is definitely in the discussion. He's definitely I would say top 4, maybe top 3. He might be third. You might put Urban Meyer at third. He's definitely in discussion, but Nick Saban is by far the greatest coach of all time, and it's not even close. Even though Bear Bryant's got 6 national championships, compared to, uh, it's not even close. Crimson, the only reason why I say 2011, because people forget about this. Arkansas was 11-2. Arkansas was an 11-2 team in the SEC that won the SEC championship. They didn't win the SEC championship game. That ended up going to the Sugar Bowl, and they ended up winning the Sugar Bowl. Arkansas had the number 5 offense in the country, and they had one of the best passing attacks in the country. Right? Alabama held that team to 14 points, and Alabama again. Arkansas had one of the best passing attacks in college football. They had a top 5 national offense, and they were an 11-win team that won the Sugar Bowl in the SEC. And this is when the SEC was in their prime, when they had 6 teams that had over 10 wins. Bama shut that team down 14-38 when Arkansas was the first team in the SEC to run the spread offense, to run the modern spread passing offense. And Arkansas got destroyed. Those receivers got shut the hell down by Drake Kirkpatrick and D. Milner. I will never forget that game. And people people criticize. I remember going into that game, people like Arkansas is going to win that football game because this is the first modern offense that Bama went up against. What happened? 38-14. Held that team to less than 200 yards in total. It was a freaking nightmare. And again, that is the only 2011 was the only team, in my opinion, that I think can compete with this modern day offense, because the offensive line was huge as hell, and they were so damn dominant and filled with first rounders on that offensive line with Chance Warren. Again, it was pretty much 2012, only except that Steen wasn't the starter. I forgot who was the starter in 2011. But Steen was not the starter in 2011. He was the backup. I forgot who was in his place. That really was the difference. But a lot of first round talent, and then defensively was just amazing. Dante Hightower, Courtney Upshaw, D. Milner, Drake Kirkpatrick, Mark Barron, C.J. Mosley was the freak. C.J. Mosley, Nico Johnson, Trey Priest. Oh, I mean, those guys were just monsters. Josh Chapman. Okay, so Blake got his prediction. He has oh man. Out 25. Okay. Now, he has Ohio State winning 43-40. That's not even a shock, but yeah, he has 43-40. That is definitely the prediction right over there. So he has Ohio State winning this football game in a very, very close, high scoring football game. So yeah, we all agree for the most part it's going to be a very close, competitive football game. I do hope that this is a close game, guys. I am praying that this is a good football game. We haven't had a good national championship game since the Alabama Georgia game back in 2018. So I am hoping that we can definitely get a good football game here. It could be, Matt. You could be right. You could definitely be right. It could definitely be a little bit low scoring. Because one thing that I have to kind of one thing I have to kind of really kind of take a look at is both teams can have a lot of yards, but when it comes to red zone opportunities, this is when both teams cannot take advantage. Like 2018, Bama had close to 600 yards against Clemson, but they only scored 16 points. So it could come down to red zone opportunities. It could come down to turnovers, takeaways, penalties. All that stuff could definitely happen. And, so yeah, this could be this could be like a 31-28, maybe a 24-27 type of football game. I wouldn't be surprised if that has happened. I think, I'm predicting that this is going to be a 45-38, or, this is going to be a very high scoring game. But then again, that sounds like a Big 12 score. And both teams have good offenses, and both teams have good defense. Both teams have good defenses. So, yeah, Matt, realistically, this should be a 24-31 or 24-27 type of game. But I just think that we're going to see a lot more offense in this game than what people kind of expected to be. Well, what a lot of people expected to be. Ooh, 2019 Ohio State played against 2017 Alabama. I would go with 2017. You know what? If Jalen Hurts is starting, Ohio State blows out Alabama in 2017. If Tua starts, I would go with Alabama to win that game because Alabama had the defense. Alabama had the defense to stop anybody. But Jalen Hurts in 2017 held that team back in the passing game. He wasn't developed yet. He wasn't like how he was in Oklahoma or how he was when Dan Enos was coaching him up here at Alabama as the quarterback coach. When Jalen Hurts was starting in 2017, you knew that if he went up against a good defense, he was not going to throw for over. He was not even going to throw for 100 yards. The run game was going to get taken away, and the defense was going to pretty much have to carry the team. So it just depends who's starting, honestly. If Jalen Hurts is starting, Ohio State blows them out. If Tua starts, I think Bama would win. Ohio State really had some dominant ass teams. Just thinking about the amount of first round talent they had in their teams, and they just it's actually kind of just sad that they just did not go to the national championship or even were kind of just close to it. So man, it's like Ohio State had so much talent, but just there was just something there. There was just something missing, man. There was the Iowa game, and then there was the Purdue game. There was the Michigan State game back in 2015, and that team was probably even more talented than the 2014 team, and they ended up losing to that game 14-17 at home. There was just something in the way for Ohio State for competing for national championships. Fields is ready. I hope he's ready. I do hope Fields is ready. I hope Fields is healthy. I hope Fields is just healthy. I hope that if he plays his game, he has a pretty good game here, and he's healthy. I think that's the most important part is that these kids walk away during this football game because, like I said, after this, they got to get prepared for the combine like straight away. There's no taking a break. Like after this game, you got to go. You got to prepare. You don't even got no time to kind of relax. You got to prepare for the combine. You got to prepare for all this stuff. You got to prepare for training. Um, so I just hope that these kids can just walk away safe, healthy, and showcase their skills. Could be Luke. It could be Luke. I'm just going by experience about what it feels like to kind of play with with injured ribs. Matter of fact, I actually had a broken rib. I had a broken rib. I actually kind of play with in this was back when I was in community college, but I'm telling you, Luke, it felt like I was getting stabbed. Now I didn't have our trainers were garbage compared to what Ohio State had. But I'm telling you, man, it just feels like you get stabbed, like you just get stabbed over a million times, and it hurts so goddamn much, man. No matter how many shots that you just take, it just hurts. Like it just hurts, man. And it just limits what you can do sometimes. Like sometimes you want to go full speed, but you just can't. Your mind is just telling you to kind of stop it. Now, again, Justin Fields is a warrior. He's a relentless. He's very very relentless. But man, I'm telling you, those ribs, and it's not just the ribs, it's the hip. We also got to take a look at the hip. The hip, he also injured his hip as well. So we got to take a look at that, and we got to take that into consideration as well. And you know, as soon as he hurt himself, what happened in that game? He kind of slowed down. I mean, he was scrambling, but he wasn't. He didn't take. He took precaution. Took a lot of precaution. He started to slide a little bit earlier when defenders were just some close to him. He started to kind of be just cautious, and that injury was definitely affecting him. So I think he is good to go. I think he'll probably play at around 80, 85%. But an 80-85% is still good enough for this team to definitely win the national championship. By the way, we got 56 people in the live in the stream so far. Definitely make sure you guys hit the like button, share the stream if you guys can, and also subscribe. And especially if you guys are new. If you guys are new here, definitely subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We will be doing these live streams a lot more frequently. Again, we will be having a live stream on Monday during the national championship during the watch party. So again, if you guys just want a place to stop by, you got no one to watch the national championship with. We are here. We will have a chat. We'll have a safe community for you guys. You guys can talk all the trash or all the good things you guys want during the game, and we will definitely be here. Appreciate that, Chief. Appreciate it. So, Demand, he has his score prediction 45-38, Ohio State winning the football game. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by anybody, but here, shout out to Starbucks. Starbucks came clutch, man. Yeah, go, Jay. It's hard to breathe. It's so hard to breathe, man. I mean, there's just so many factors. There's so many factors. Just playing with an injured rib. Again, it's not the most serious injury in the world, but it's one of the more annoying injuries to definitely have. You do not want to have a rib injury. It sucks. Yeah, I think Richard, you make a good point. Will Ohio State utilize the tight ends with Ruckert and I forgot who the other and Smith. Will Ruckert and Smith will they utilize them now? Are they Kyle Pitts or Kenny Yeboah? No, but we have seen Kenny Yeboah, a more athletic type of tight end. Um, he had close to 200 receiver yards against Alabama. Kyle Pitts, the best route runner probably in the country, had 124 yards. Why was that? Because the matchup. He had Brian Branch on them. He had Malachi Moore on them. He had Jordan Battle, Dylan Moses, Christian Harris on those guys in the slot. Ohio State loves to utilize their guys. Again, they're not the best route runners. They're not the most athletic guys, but they're big guys. They can shield defenders, and they're excellent in the red zone. So Ohio State's going to use. I think they're going to utilize every single weapon that they have, whether if it's the receivers and whether if it's the playmakers on the outside with Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson or Jack Smith and Jigba or Julian Fleming. I think they're going to definitely focus more on the zone run with Trey Sermon in the offensive line, especially with Miller coming back. That's going to be huge for them. And then of course utilizing their tight ends. That's going to be a big play because Alabama has had trouble with the tight ends this year. So Alabama's going to have a lot of work to do. Pete Golden gave it acknowledged that they're definitely going to have to show up, play their A game. They're definitely going to have to have their best game as far as execution because letting up against this football team, you're going to get punished as we saw last week. Oh hell yeah, Chief, hell yeah. I'm confident that Bryce Young is going to be the starting quarterback. I said it. I said it before during my preseason picks during one of my videos. I said that Bryce Young was going to be the backup. Mac Jones was going to be the guy this year. He's going to go off to the NFL. I don't know if he was going to be a first round pick, but I said that Mac Jones was going to go off to the NFL and Bryce Young was going to be the starting quarterback next year. Now, did I think Steve Sarkisian was going to leave? Not this early. I thought that next year he was going to leave. Um, but I'm confident Bryce Young is gonna be the starting quarterback next year. Bryce Young's the most talented quarterback Bama has ever had. Not saying he's the best. He's the most talented quarterback I think Alabama has ever had. From a passing standpoint, from his mechanics to his IQ to his mobility to his legs. I think Bryce Young is the most dynamic Alabama quarterback they've ever had as far as talent. Just got to develop. If he can just develop properly, like we've kind of seen the last 2 to 3 Alabama quarterbacks do, I think Bryce Young is going to be a star here. Yeah, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, these are guys that feed off each other. These are guys that make each other better. I've noticed that these two guys make each other so much better. These are very hard. These are really, really hard guys to kind of defend against. And they kind of feed off each other from that. Who do I want as OC next year? I want Joe Brady. Only because I think Joe Brady's the best Joe Brady is the best coordinator or the best play designer as from a passing perspective, I think in college football. I think the most complete coordinator is Sarkisian right now. But as far as a passing standpoint, Joe Brady's the best. And just watching him at Carolina, just like the plays that he's drawn up for Teddy Bridgewater at the Carolina Panthers is stunning. Like he's made like he took DJ Moore to the next level. He took DJ Moore to being a next level type of receiver. And even Anderson, even Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is playing at a top-notch level. And Robbie Anderson was always good, but Joe Brady, with the amount of plays that he kind of drew from in the passing game, just made him that much better as well. I would love to have Joe Brady as our offensive coordinator because I just think he takes this passing attack to the next level. As much as I love 2018 Alabama and 2019 Alabama, and and even this 2020 Alabama, Joe Brady, what he would do with the talent that we have here, man, I think it will be LSU-esque here. Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, like I said, with Bill O'Brien and Adam Gase, those are two really good offensive coordinators. Those are two really good offensive minds. Two really good offensive minds. Adam Gase I think, is better than Bill O'Brien, and Adam Gase can coach his ass off. They're just, I mean, Bill O'Brien is more of a he's more of a, Bill O'Brien's a good head coach. He's just not a good manager. He's not a good general manager. Adam Gates sucks as a head coach, but he's a really good offensive coordinator. He's a really good offensive mind. Um, my problem with those two guys as being the coordinator is that they're going to be here for a year. You just know they're going to be here for a year, and then they're going to be gone the next year. You just know it. Yeah, I don't think they're going to dominate, but but will they play a factor? Will Rucker and Smith, will those guys play a factor at the tight end position? I think that's the question. I mean, they really weren't dominant last week. I mean, they were good and they shown their presence, but they weren't dominant last week. Will they show? But will they be utilized properly? Will they show a type of presence where Alabama has that to kind of worry about now with the receiving game, with Sermon, and now Justin Fields with his legs, and even when he's in the pocket and trying to contain Justin Fields or try to pressure him while squeezing him. I mean, there's a lot of factors going into that. So I don't think they'll dominate. I don't. They're not Kenny Yeboah. I mean, they're nowhere near what Kenny Yeboah and Kyle Pitts were. However, those are guys that can still make plays on the ball. Chief, that's a good question. Devont, that's like, what's a good comparison I can say to that? Devonte Smith is Marvin Harrison. Jamar Chase is a better version of Des Bryant. It's who you want. Do you want the all pro? Do you want the all pro version of Des Bryant? That's just a better route runner, or do you want Marvin Harrison? It's kind of pick your poison because Jamar Chase he's very, very strong, especially when it comes to attacking the football. Super strong, really good route runner, phenomenal release point, great hands, and most importantly, run after the catch. He's strong. He's not going to go down after contact. But then you have Devonte Smith, who's so damn silky smooth, man. You're talking about a guy that's probably one of the best route runners in college. I mean, just as an all-around receiver, Devonte Smith is just so good in so many different areas. But the one thing, just like Marvin Harrison, that kind of held him back was his frame. People underestimated Marvin Harrison and Isaac Bruce because of their frame. Devonte Smith is in that same realm. It's really just pick your poison. I probably would go with I probably would go with Smith only because we've seen it happen. Because even I would kind of question, can Devontae Smith hold up with his frame? But even if Devontae Smith gains 20 or 30 pounds, he's not going to change. It's like Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant looks like he's 190 pounds, but he's 240 pounds. That's just how he is. That's his frame. That's just how he's built. And so I would probably go with Devontae Smith, but just slightly, slightly. I wouldn't mind taking Jamar Chase though. Yeah, Saban has 5 at Alabama. He has 6 in total though, because he won a national championship at LSU. But he has 5 at Alabama so far. So if he wins this one, he'll tie out Bear. You know what? I wouldn't be mad at it. I don't think a lot of people would be mad at it because Jalen Waddle is he's the closest thing to what you can expect from Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle is quick as hell. He's one of the quickest players in college football. He has the speed, maybe not faster than Ruggs, but he's close to it. He's a 4.3 runner, but I think he's more developed than Tyreek Hill coming out of college. I think his route running ability is better than Tyreek Hill coming out of college, and I think just as a pass catcher, he's up there with Tyreek Hill. So I think Jalen Waddle. I'm not saying he's going to be a better version of Tyreek Hill because I think what you see from Tyreek Hill, I think that's the best what anyone can get. But yeah, that's like saying who do you want, Tyreek Hill or Marvin Harrison? And do you want the fastest, quickest receiver, or do you just want an all around really good receiver in a Marvin Harrison type? Yeah, yeah. It took Tyreek Hill 3 years. It took Tyreek Hill around maybe about a couple of years before he actually got really good at attacking the football. And even Tyreek Hill, he doesn't really go up that much, but it took Tyreek Hill some time for him to actually go up there and attack the football well. Waddle's been good at that since day one. Day one, he's been really, really good at attacking the football and showing a bunch of strength. I also think that Jalen Waddle's also bigger. He's bigger. I think Jalen Waddle's more physical and he runs a lot more aggressive than Tyreek Hill does. Tyreek Hill is more of a finesse guy. When Jalen Waddle runs, he runs super aggressive. He runs super aggressive like a damn cheetah. Like it's kind of crazy. They can. They can. Alabama is physical on the defensive line. And of course, they got the linebackers that can also hang with them as well. They can do it. It's not an easy task, though. The same can be said with Ohio State. Ohio State can stop the line. It's all about which players can get penetration. Pause. Can Christian Barmore affect the play? Can Fedarian Mathis affect the play? I'm not caught as Fedarian Mathis because I think he's going to get washed out. Can DJ Dale hold up the line? Can Will Anderson cause some penetration? Pause. Chris Allen kind of hold containment. I mean, you know, there's a bunch of factors that goes into it. But Alabama, this defensive line, and so does Ohio State. They both have the potential to stop the run game. Yeah, Waddle just plays angry, and you notice every single time he makes a damn play, he always does this every time. I don't know what that is. He does it every single time. Like whenever he makes a play, he stares down the defender and does this. He does this with his shoulders every single time, dude. I swear, every time I see that crap, I just always laugh my ass off. Man, yeah, appreciate you, Tyler, for stopping by the stream, dog. Yeah, Ohio State's got a lot of depth. They got a lot of depth at that Ohio State receiving core. And you know what's funny? Ohio State's receiving core is going to be nasty next year. Amika, Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, Ohio State's got some dogs at their receiving position coming in next year. Now, of course, Bama's got the same. Alabama's got the same too. But man, Ohio State's got some dogs at that receiving position, and CJ Stroud is probably going to be the next. He's probably going to be the next guy up at Ohio State at the quarterback position. And then Quinn Ewers, who, if he stays committed, is going to be coming in 2021. Who, by the way, for any Ohio States that wants to kind of look at Quinn Ewers, he's actually playing right now. I think you can actually watch him live. But South Lake, no, sorry, they're playing tomorrow. So Quinn Ewers and South Lake Carroll will be playing Duncanville with Alabama commitment Kendrick Blackshire. They'll be playing tomorrow. If you guys want to check out Quinn Ewers in 2021. I know there's a lot of Ohio State fans in the chat. So if any of you guys are just curious to kind of see what he looks like, you can watch him tomorrow. I don't think that's going to be on ESPNU, but it will be somewhere up live. Travion Henderson, running back from Virginia. He's a dog. I mean, Ohio State's got some dogs in the recruiting class. And who knows? JT Tuamalo, and I probably butchered that last name, but JT Tuamalo, he's watching. It's really between Alabama and Ohio State for his commitment. So this could also be a game that can also determine which team is going to get him come signing day. Yeah, if you're referring to Bryce Young, wait, who are you talking about, Go Jay? I I've always wanted I've let me go back to that comment. Fred, I've always wanted an 18 playoff system. Um, but here's my problem with the 18 playoff. I don't think it's going to change as far as a group of 5 team not getting as far as a group of 5 team getting in the format. I don't think they're going to get in. And the whole point of the college football playoffs was to kind of actually reward the 4 best teams in college football based off of the playoff committee's criteria. So that if we have a Boise State football team that's clearly shown that they're a top 2 team, but maybe they kind of slip up and they lose a game that they didn't deserve, they'll have an opportunity at a shot for a national championship or a TCU with Andy Dalton or undefeated TCU football team that ends up beating Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl. But guess what? They don't have a shot to play another game for a national championship. That's the whole point of the college football playoffs. So the fact that they had this playoff and they had this certain criteria and they never followed it. They never looked at it. They never followed it. It's always been assumption. Like they've always assumed, okay, we assume that this team is one of the 4 best teams, so we're going to put them in. And we've seen them be right at some cases. We've seen them be wrong in some cases. Right? 2016, Ohio State should have never been in the college football playoffs. Should have never been in there. Penn State should have been in the college football playoffs. But guess what? They assumed Ohio State was better, and they put Ohio State in it, and Ohio State got embarrassed against Clemson. But there are some cases that they were right. 2017, Alabama was in. Alabama should never even been in the college. And I'm a Bama fan, and I will say that Alabama should never made the college football playoff in 2017. But guess what? They were in it, and they proved the playoff committee right. So, this whole thing about assuming that we just assume that these are the 4 best teams, so we're going to put them in there. That crap has to stop, man. So even if we have 18 playoff, that's always going to happen, right? There's always going to be debate about who that last team is. And then you know what? I think the one thing about this format is that how is this going to work? Because what about conference championships? Like you don't even have to play like as a 6th or a 7th or an 8th seed. You don't even have to play in a conference championship. You pretty much have a week off while the rest of these teams have to fight for positioning. It sounds like a good idea, but like, are we going to take conference championships away? Are we going to reduce games? I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that have to go in that factor. Yeah, I can. I don't mind a 6 or an 18 playoff going on, but again, we have to. What's going to happen with the conference championships? Um, could we have it to say that we'll have 5 conference championships, and then the best group of 5 team that has to play in a conference championship. Do we have them in there? I can see that happening. I will say this though, I would not have any independent teams in the college football playoff. I wouldn't have any teams, period, that doesn't play for a conference championship in there. You have to win your conference championship, and the group of five and the non-group of five Power Five team that's in there, they have to play for a conference championship as well. Because I just don't like the fact how teams are going to get a bye week, are practically going to get a bye week as a sixth, seventh, or eighth seed, while the other teams are fighting for positioning. That just doesn't sound fair to me. Yeah. Yeah, Tyler, I like Joe Klatt's model. I still feel like there's some things that he kind of needs to clean up, and some questions and answers. Really, some questions that I think needs to be answered. It's better than this crap though, and at least it rewards a non-group of five team. Because again, the whole point of the playoffs was to kind of reward these non-group of five power teams. Because we've always had questions. What if 2011 Boise State would have competed for the national championship with Kellen Moore? What if 2010 TCU would have competed for a national championship? What if 2008 Utah would have competed for a national championship? Like, we need to reward these non-group of five power teams for going undefeated, and we just haven't. We just haven't, man. And if Cincinnati would have beat Georgia, guess what Cincinnati would have done? They would have claimed the national title. If Coastal Carolina would have won their game against Liberty, guess what they would have done? They would have claimed the national title. And that just makes the playoff committee looks like fools. And they're lucky. They're lucky, of course, that those things didn't happen. But could you imagine two teams claiming for a national championship? It just would have looked, but it would have looked horrible for the playoff committee. Uh, as much as the Jaguars suck, no college team is beating an NFL team. No, that's not happening. No college team is beating an NFL team. XFL team though, we can have a debate now. We can we can have a debate if it's against the XFL football team. So we'll definitely see about that, Firo. Yeah, I would say this. Going just back to the national title game, I'm just going to make a couple more points, and then I'm probably going to stop the stream. But just a couple points. I think one of the topics that no one's kind of talking about that I think could be a huge factor is special teams. I think special teams is something that could definitely play a huge factor. I think no one's kind of talking about it. Ohio State, now trust me, both these teams have great special teams units. Ohio State's got a pretty good kicker. Alabama's has have one of the best kickers. Bama's punting game is garbage. Bam that as far as field position goes, Ohio State I think might have a little bit of advantage when it comes to special teams, guys. Bama's punting unit is horrible this year. That could be a certain advantage for Ohio State to take advantage, especially if Ohio State's defense can force the three and outs. Because Ohio State has a nice defense. If they can force those three and outs and force Scott and force Scott, or Brendan, whoever the punter is, to kind of kick the ball, Ohio State has that advantage of getting good field position automatically because of that situation, or at least getting a touchback. Yeah, that's another thing too. Will they be able to do it? If will they be able to do it? Can they make Alabama punt the ball? That's the question. But I will say this: we've seen Alabama go up to big starts and big starts. Second half, they've slowed down, and Notre Dame was able to make them punt the football sometimes. I think another situation too is that too. We've seen Alabama drive the field and not finish. Again, 2018, what happened? Bama punted the ball, I think, once in the national championship game against Clemson. They drove down the field a whole bunch of times, but couldn't punch it in. They couldn't score in the red zone. So could that be a situation where Ohio State's more focused on red zone defense than Alabama gaining yards? That was Brent Venables' strategy. Brent Venables wanted Alabama to march down the field, but he knew that as soon as he got to the red zone, Clemson had them where they wanted to go. They wanted them. They wanted them in the red zone. And could that be something that Ohio State kind of draws up? Yeah, I can't wait for Monday, man. I can't wait for Monday. And like it's been a pleasure doing these live streams with you guys, man. These preview guys, a whole bunch of you guys are brand new here. A whole bunch of you guys have been sticking around with me though for like the past 2 to 3 days of live streams for like almost 2 hours now, and just appreciate you guys stopping by here. But yeah, cannot wait for Monday, and I can't wait for the watch party. The watch party is gonna be fun, man. A bunch of trash talk. Post game is definitely gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. I can't wait. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I think that's gonna call it for me. I'm gonna stop the stream a little bit early today. Um, yeah, it's been a pleasure doing these live streams with you guys over the last week, previewing Alabama versus Ohio State, live Q&A with you guys as well. I really appreciate you guys for stopping by the live stream, guys. Again, Monday I will be live streaming the national championship game. Tomorrow I'm actually going to be live streaming the Bills game. So if any of you guys want to come by, stop by the stream and just say what's up, say hello. I'll definitely appreciate it if you guys will stop by. But Monday we will be having a live party, a live watch party Monday night at around 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to stop by the live stream, and we will live stream the national championship game, and then of course we'll have our post game talk more about the national championship game. So thank you guys so much for stopping by. I see the usual suspects in here. Thank you guys so much for liking the stream, sharing the stream, also subscribing, also to the new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing and hitting the notification bell. But yeah, this is Jant716, aka Jant Sports, and I am going to call it here. Peace, guys.